on up, and he is the chair for the Republican Party at UVU. I think it's so important that we start getting a backlog of young people involved in this movement so we can continue the fight. Here you are, Nick.
Hi, my name is Nick Moyes. I am the College Republicans chapter president at Utah Valley University, and I am a newly elected state delegate for Provo Precinct 29. Some of you may recognize me from the news a few weeks ago. I'm the unruly student at UVU who likes to exercise his Second Amendment rights. Thank you. But that's not why we're here today. We have been deceived by the allure of a welfare state, and I think we are primarily to blame. There are even some among us who have sought to reject this responsibility and lay the blame at the feet of conspiracy theories. I'm here to tell you that these injustices and overreaching power grabs of the federal government have been carried out right in front of our eyes, and we have accepted these injustices through our apathy. We have watched a massive dependent class emerge in which 47% of U.S. citizens pay zero federal income tax. This is a class of votes that are bought and paid for by the government and leaves nearly half of Americans without a stake in the game. To make matters worse, we let the government kill the golden goose of industry, of capitalism, and squash the entrepreneurial spirit of America. We continue to go on witch hunts year after year in an attempt to increase the proportion of taxes extorted from the rich, even though they already supply the grand majority of the government's revenue. The true conspiracy is that the enterprising and the ambitious are being enslaved to this class of dependents. To perpetuate this dependence, trillions of dollars have been spent subsidizing the now forbidden F word, failure. The failure of banks, the failure of car companies, farms, and every other dependent slug who thinks that the world owes them a living. We have let the government treat these industries like a t-ball team that, despite coming in last place, still gets a shiny metal trophy at the end of the season.
Stop that! Let my kids fail!
What's worse is that the trophy's purchased with billions of our tax dollars. What happened to the days when kids learned from defeat? When they skinned their knees and picked themselves back up? What happened to the days when companies weren't too big to fail? Can you imagine where we'd be today if Obama had been around to bail out the failing typewriter industry? What has happened to the philosophy of creative destruction? I mean, I feel sorry for all of the union workers who lost their jobs at typewriter factories as PCs came on the scene, but I sure enjoy writing my 20-page term papers on my laptop.
Amen!
Weren't we taught in elementary school that Thomas Edison was only able to invent the light bulb because he was allowed to fail hundreds of times? We would all, if he'd been a government employee, we'd all still be reading by candlelight. Another open conspiracy is the government helping unions extort more than their labor is worth from companies that aren't even allowed to fire them if they can't turn a profit. Obama, Reid, and Pelosi have protected the voting blocks of unions. Perfect example, the purchase of General Motors. The reason they bought General Motors was to prevent the bankruptcy that would allow prevent the renegotiation of union contracts. When the government subsidizes anything, there is an artificial increase in supply. A great example is the 400% increase in college tuition costs over the last 15 years, a direct result of the government grants and loans. Worst of all, the government is now subsidizing employment and broken families. They're paying us not to work and to not have traditional families. For some time now, and for the past 10 years especially, we, the silent majority, have sat idly by as our rights have eroded and non-existent monies were spent to subsidize the failure. As a result, we are stuck footing the bill. Will electing Republicans in November magically and completely change the system? No. The only real solution is to take this leviathan of a government by the gills and hack it down to the size of a minnow. We have to reduce government spending back to the point where they cannot provide everything for us, and thus simultaneously removing their ability to take everything from us. We are ushering in a new age of vigilance. We must stay informed, we must read the Constitution, and hold our representatives' feet to its original flame. So the next time the government says they want to bail out an industry, or provide us with health care, or pay for my college tuition, we will respond with a resounding no thanks. I'll take care of it myself. Because we know that the real conspiracy is to make us dependent on them, but we, the people, are sovereign and we will not succumb to it. Thank you.
Great job, Nick. Another round of applause. Jacqueline Smith, come on up at the Star Forum. This is a very educated woman, and we can learn a lot from her.
I'm just like you guys. I was up at Summit County and I thought, is anybody going to have a tea party up here? So I had one. About 40 people came to my house and we've grown to over 100 people up in Summit County that meet